again, Phil. I was wondering if I could talk to you about something that's on my mind.
No.
I figured it was just about the time that you and I had the talk, actually. I've seen it all.
The birds
heard
and
it
the
all,
bees
even
and the
tasted
flowers
it
and...
all in
Oh,
my
that's
time
not
as a
the talk we're having.
Ask me anything you want.
Thanks. I was hoping you could let me borrow those books you were reading earlier.
He
You
wants
mean
to...
how to talk a human female into becoming your vessel, and how to get the cuties?
Hey! Keep it down! Keep it down!
But you and Madame Eleanor have already formed a pact. Why do you still need either of those books?
Well, it's like when we're alone together, things get so awkward. It's hard to talk with her, you know?
That happens a lot with Malachiman vessels who are still new to the whole thing. I've been there. In that case, I've got an even better book for you.
Whoa! You read a lot of books.
I'm just an avid learner is all. Now
Where does he
let's
carry all those
see.
books at?
Oh, here we go. Hot Spring Topics, bearing your body and your soul. Being upfront and honest is always the best policy.
I don't think we'll be bathing in any hot springs together. Do you have anything else?
All right, then how about after bath party games, dropping your defenses and your towels?
Why do you keep trying to get us naked? I think that would just make things even more awkward.
Picky. Tell you what, you can just look at my collection and pick whatever sounds good.
Love hacking, living long and loving hard,
Whoa.
diary of a diary thief, hands speak louder than words.
Wow.
All classics. I
Wow.
remember
This
reading
is,
them when Miss Magilu and I were struggling to get along. Oh, to be young again.
You ever think maybe things would have been easier if you never read these books?
Reading the mood, knowing what to say and how to say it. That one's a winner. A must-read for sure.
Are you two reading something together?
We are. Laffyset's been worried about that awkward distance between you two, and he came to me for some advice. I've heard his side of the story, so let's you and I grab some tea and talk about what to do about it. Come on, let's go!
Oh, okay.
Knowing
Uh-oh.
what to say and how to say it. I don't think this will help either.
Well, that's gonna make for some awkward conversation later. Is it this way out? I think that's where it came from. And no, it's ways out. It's amazing this didn't get censored. There's nothing crazy about that. There's nothing that needs to be censored there. It's just standard, subtle, lewd stuff. I mean, it's pretty overt, but it's not. It's not. It's tame enough. I mean, it's not like, you know, actually graphic. There's no need for that kind of thing to be censored. Can't even. Oh, I don't have the stuff to enhance it. Anything that's actually any good, I just don't have the stuff to enhance it at all. What if this is... What if I'm supposed to sell these for money? Should sell for a healthy sum. It feels like I'm supposed to sell this stuff. Well, sure hope it's not used for crafting. Wait, small value as a medicine. So that little mineral icon is the only kind of thing that I'll... Okay, so battle items. I think these little bag icons mean it's just for selling. Not like I need money, to be honest, so I could just hang on to it. It's weird playing a game like this where money doesn't seem to be an issue. Either that or I'm just not doing it right. I don't know. Seem to be fine with money though. So it sends you to the entrance. Sure, why not? I'll get a few of those. Oh, yes. That was 8,000 for just some items. All right. Yeah, that's kind of how it. That's a very smart tactic to do. You know, like start ridiculous and then work your way down to what you wanted anyway. Common tactic. Because if you pitch your normal idea, it's gonna get thrown out. But if you pitch something ridiculous, they're settling. And, you know, they feel okay with it. You feel okay with it at the end. Nope, no, it's one of my bigger complaints with the game is that the dungeon design is very basic. In fact, we've already had a dungeon with this exact tile set, so... And we're actually having to reuse the same dungeon also, because it made me go all the way into the cave, and then I have to go all the way back out of the cave as part of the same dungeon, which is, like, kind of insulting. Thankfully, I could just walk right out. I don't have to find anything, so... At least I think I was supposed to exit this dungeon. No, I'm not so sure. Ha! Uh-huh. I don't see a destination thingy. Star. Boy. Maybe it's supposed to go back to the dude. I mean, as far as other Tales games go, it's definitely the most visually impressive one. The texturing on the walls is pretty decent. Just feel like that's the wrong way. Oh, wrong one. Is there no map button? Base sugar at the port past the mine. Oh, there must be an additional exit. Okay. I didn't know I could hold R1 for information like that. That's cool. Beer, 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 beer. Huh. Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, again, I mean, none of the Tales games have all that interesting of a dungeon design, so, you know, it's kind of par for the course. Nope. There's a difference. I mean, look, copy pastaing a dungeon tile is shit, but just having another dungeon tile without any substance to it doesn't make it any better. You know, like dungeons. Okay, a dungeon should always feel like it's some place that could exist in this world, you know what I mean? Like just having arbitrary temple tile, you know, just because it's different tile set doesn't make it good or better or anything like that. You know, a dungeon should be something that feels like a real place in that world and is designed like that, you know? Grace's I just played Grace's and it wasn't any better. Not even a lot, not even at all. Vesperia was the same. Not very good dungeon design at all. Just generic tile set. In fact, like that one dungeon in the far north area, like we broke that one down specifically. It was 1/8 of a tile mirrored over to the other side. And then that was mirrored over to the right as well. Like it was mirrored long ways, and then it was mirrored again and then repeated, and that was it. So it was only 1/8 of a tile that was generated, and then that was just basically copy pasta 4 times to create the one part of the bottom tile, and then mirrored on the top. So the entire tile, like square that you would walk on, was just 1/8 of it was just the only unique graphic on it, and then copied 8 times, and then that whole full tile was copied through the entire dungeon with only a couple unique things done to it for certain rooms and stuff. So I mean, it wasn't that much better for Vesperia, or it wasn't better at all, in fact, and it wasn't. And Grace's F, it wasn't anything special either. Maybe it was Grace's F. I think it was Grace's F where that one was, where we broke that one down. But again, I mean, I break this stuff down every time I play a game. I always break this stuff down big time. So it's a big part of how I experience and play games and share them with people. Like this place, like there's no signs of this guy living in here. And then all of a sudden, just a bunch of swords randomly thrown around. You know, it just looks like they had an asset, which is a sword, and then they just copy pasted it like 20 times and then just dropped, just like had a glitter bomb of swords thrown into the room, you know? And there's no rhyme or reason. There's not even a weapon rack or anything, you know, just random shelf. And I don't know, it just kind of haphazardly thrown together. Nothing really interesting. And then, of course, no signs of life prior to that little point. It's just kind of meh, you know? It's okay, but not really anything of substantial value, design-wise. I haven't played Tales of Legendia. I've heard that's, like, really not super great. I don't think I've heard a single good thing about Tales of Legendia. But I've not played it, so, you know. I love getting lost. It says past the mine. So we need to get through the mine. We don't just need to leave. We need to go into the mine and out a different exit. So, never heard of Legendia? You'd be freaking surprised how many Tales games there are. There are dozens of Tales games that never made it to the US. Like literally, actually dozens of Tales games that never made it to the US. Legendia is a 2D style? I did not know that. I know it was PS2, but I thought it was one of the earlier 3D ones. I guess Symphonia was the first 3D one, then, wasn't it? Which I do not care for Symphonia at all. Of course, so here's my hot take for Tales games, and you can already see it in chat. You can already see it in chat. The division of what's good and what's a bad Tales game amongst the Tales community is crazy. Like, you cannot get like two Tales fans to agree on anything in terms of which is a good Tales game and which is not. They will always disagree. This one's the best, that one's the worst, this one's the best, this one's the worst. There's no two persons that will agree on what is a good or a bad Tales game. And because of that, all that does is kind of sort of prove that there isn't any really great Tales games out there. There are all a lot of decent Tales games, there are a lot of okay Tales games, but there's never anything that's just like a classic or a fantastic or just, you know, the Tales game that everybody should play. If you look at other franchises, let's take Breath of Fire for instance, everybody will say Breath of Fire 1 through 4 is great. Go play them. They're good games. The end. You know, take Final Fantasy for instance. Everybody will say just about, at the very least, 1 through 10 is 100% great. The only one being maybe FF8 in that for 1 through 10 that they might contest about, but not a lot of people will contest that. It's funny you should mention Suikoden 2 because, I mean, I liked Suikoden 2, but I don't think Suikoden 2 is all that in a bag of chips either. I mean, if you really get down to it, Suikoden 2 is just a Suikoden 1 mod because they take the exact same game engine and assets and they just remake the game to be a little bit better. And that's Suikoden 2, and it's a great game, but it doesn't blow anything out of the water. It's not some fantastic godsend of a game. It's very good. But it didn't do anything outstanding or outlandish or like it didn't break the mold or anything like Final Fantasy VII did.
A reject?
Well, you see,
FF 1 to 3 are garbage.
Swords,
There's a hot
just
take.
Make one at a time.
Yikes.
They make a whole bunch.
Yikes.
The best one of them all is the one that gets presented to the sword's commissioner, while the rest are tossed aside.
Huh. I didn't realize
too
the
hot of a
standards
take.
were so high.
The head of my clan gets the real Stormhowl, and his siblings get the remainders.
So one is real, and the others are imitations?
I guess so. Shigure has the real one, and yeah, guess that makes mine an imitation.
I'm
The
sorry.
the polygon
I didn't
visuals of
mean to
FF7 were
imply-
never a revolutionary part of
apologize.
FF7.
You got me to finally realize
That's
something.
not what makes FF7 revolutionary.
It might just be why
Never
I'm
has.
so hung
no
up
one's
on
ever,
beating it.
no one's ever claimed that either.
And to Velvet, which Luffy said is real?
No, I've never played
and
this.
which is the imitation?
Oh, what are you saying?
She means my name. It's the same as Velvet's brother's.
The one who went and got sacrificed by Artorias.
Also,
Surely
visuals
you're
are not any
mistaken.
ever
Our
any
shepherd
really
would never do such a thing.
that big of a
But
deal.
what else could make Velvet hate Artorias?
It was
so
great
much?
visually for the time, weirdly. You're right. Yeah.
I don't...
So you have a truth, and Velvet has a truth. Now, which is the real one, and which is the imitation?
What was revolutionary about FF7 had nothing to do with the visuals. Although the 2D backgrounds in FF7 are still fantastic and hold up to today because of the level of brilliance and color and detail within them, despite being only 240p images. FF1 through 3 are definitely harder to play. I always recommend playing them on NES because they're just better that way. But if you want to do PSP 1 and 2, it'll definitely clean up a lot of the kind of awkwardness of old game style. But FF3 NES is probably the best NES game ever made. It is insanely impressive from a technical standpoint, and just it really is the first Final Fantasy to have like actual value to its design. It's very, very, very good. But yeah, if you pick one of those 3 games to play on as the original release, make it FF3, please. It just gives you so much more of a like understanding of Final Fantasy history, references, and of course makes you appreciate like the era that it came from so much more. But playing FF2 or 1 and 2 on NES helps you kind of appreciate FF3 even more when you do get to it. But it's totally understandable to have never played those. I mean, FF1 was like my first RPG ever. I was just a young little background boy. Of course, it's, you know, something that not a lot of people have gotten around to since it was, you know, 25 some odd years ago or whatever. Yeah, the battle track is definitely very good.
You and Shigure both use the Rangetsu style. But to me, it looked like you both fight completely differently. Why is that?
Our school encompasses 2 distinct forms. To the outside world, we're known for fighting with a single greatsword. But we also study dual short swords should need arise.
So, Shigure uses the greatsword, and you use
I
the
just got the
short.
swords made.
In most schools, wouldn't the secondary technique be used primarily in support of the first?
That's true for us as well. We learn the dual short swords to provide sparring partners for those studying the greatsword.
Then why would you handicap yourself against Lord Shigure? He's no mere swordsman.
As I'm painfully aware, Shigure is a true master. We trained together since we were small children. I was his sparring partner for 10 years. His skill with the greatsword is godlike. So, in order to beat him, I took up the short blades. To our school, it might be secondary, but it's what I know best.
You're badly disadvantaged in reach.
If I eliminate my fear, I have a chance. If I can control the terror of being split in half and I can step inside his guard, he'll have 2 times the trouble.
Eliminating fear, huh? A style for someone who's lost his humanity.
Right?
It's like you 2 brothers are the very swords you carry.
Huh?
Storm Howl, a godlike sword known to all as the strongest there ever was. Storm Quell, burdened by the ceaseless struggle to best the other. One, an exorcist who walks in the light. One, a demon moving through the shadows.
Blah, blah,
the
blah,
only thing
blah,
these
blah,
two
blah,
polar
blah,
opposites
blah.
want?
Is to cut down the other.
Precisely!
Both are renowned blades. But I don't see what exorcists and demons have to do with it.
The problem I have with the skits is, first off, they're really just overly wordy, and I just don't care for that kind of writing style. The second thing is, it's actually really cheap. Despite the skits improving over time, that's great and all, but it's just still images being slid across the screen. There's nothing actually special about it. It's very cheap production as opposed to having actual like model animations and character interactions that like are like within a cutscene or something, you know? Like actual characters moving across the screen, interacting with each other, having unique animations that aren't just like repeated cycles. You know, vectoring all of those individually, that's a lot of work, and this doesn't do that. It's just scrolling 2D images across the screen. There's nothing. It's improved, yes. The movement and style is much better, but it's just, you know, it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm holding it too high of a standard or something, but it's not like I dislike it. I just think that, you know, yeah, they've improved, but when you get down to it, it's still kind of a cheapy sort of way to do a cutscene. Yeah, Ray Chase is the current main villain of the game right now. We've seen him quite a bit. Norman hat, meh. But yeah, I'm not like saying this game sucks, but more that it could be better, a lot better. These aren't new. Yeah, Ray Chase is probably one of the greatest voice talents we have right now. He's absolutely fantastic. No offense to the others, but Ray Chase kind of blows everybody out of the water right now.
There they are.
Hey, buddy.
Which must mean they took out every one of the exorcists.
Well, Ray Chase is Noctis, so he was only
Hey,
Noctis
I
him
told
off,
him not to
if he
bother.
was.
Now, how did that sword of yours turn out? Fine. I'll find out for myself.
Rokuro, we can handle the exorcists. Go and find your victory.
Thanks.
All right. Let's get down to business. Not bad. You better not die too quickly on me. I want this to be fun. Come on, bro. Don't hold back.
Yeah, bro. Hold on back, bro.